Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Everything that's going on, a lot of my friends are asking me how I'm doing. It's a very stressful situation. I don't see many things that are all that terribly different other than just a lot of Christian things that are going on across the internet. Things with me. I'm not doing very well. My asthma is still not under control. So, because my asthma is not under control, I really don't want to leave the house. Now, mind you, we are in a community that's very small. It's like 750 people, maybe. And another community that's not far off that we are kind of conjoined to has about, 750 people. So it's not very big. And considering the fact that we now have 7 cases and one that passed away for sure that had it, one that's suspected to have it, but they're not sure. It's one of those things where he had passed away. The whole details behind him passing away was just him falling off a boat, and they found him later. So, they're pretty sure he had it. I guess signs, I guess the only speculation you can make is that people that knew him now have it. So I think that's the only speculation in which they're going off of. But they're not really sure. He wasn't that old. So mentally, kind of in a place where I'm not exactly devastated, but I'm not exactly happy. Emotionally, I feel very heightened. My body's not doing very good physically because my asthma. I've been coughing a lot, which is really bad. I do not have it in control. So I was going to call my ear, nose, and throat specialist, but they also have it there, and he works at the hospital there. So it makes me a little leery, I guess. But I guess that's what it is. I really don't want to put myself in a position where I could end up getting it easier. My respiratory is not doing well. It's just not. Allergies are not helping. My asthma to seasonal things isn't helping. I've stopped getting my shots, which are an immune booster shot, so that I was able to eventually not have the allergies affect me as badly or become eventually immune to them. Sometimes it works, sometimes it takes longer. It was like a 5-year plan. Right now, it's not wise. So until I can get my asthma back in check, because yesterday I was so croaky, you could barely hear me. My counselor, out of the kindness of her heart, knew that everything that we're dealing with is a really, not happy situation. So she did call me yesterday to let me know that they're going to do things via the internet now. So that can help. Be nice to help. Because they can do that better now. I'll be able to do my counseling sessions online until the chaos is over. They close most stores at 9 and they open most of them at 7, which makes it very, very difficult for my son's dad to get things. So there's not like there's a ton of food items left in the house. We've eaten through 90% of everything we had, but it's not a bad thing. I do miss a few things, but it is what it is. There's a program that's going on in the community where there's this wonderful friend of mine who went into the Navy, something I couldn't imagine myself having done. I chose my mom and my grandmother, but she went into the Navy and she retired, moved back here, and she started a, I guess, a community help of purchasing foods, cooking the foods, and sending the foods out to, when it first started, like maybe 20 people, and then 50, and then like 100 to 150 people. And it's grown in the different community wise. And then we have the fire department that actually is helping the community. So I'm going to give you an idea of how hard this is hitting everyone. Out of the kindness of her heart, she didn't have to do this. She started out with her own money. She began to cook, and eventually she spoke with whatever city council here is still working, and she got the volunteer fire department to help. Now, the fire department in itself are all volunteer people. EMTs, EMS are all volunteer people. Right now, most of them do not have jobs. And they volunteer because they want to help others. And they learn the skills, and they go to classes to learn the skills to keep becoming and keep continuing on their path of saving others and keeping each other from hurting each other, or allowing someone to get hurt during their desire to have all escape without issues. They also have to attend every single car accident. Whether or not there's a fire or not, they're still obligated to show up at the scene of every accident. I can't tell you how much I appreciate them, because I was in a situation where I had to end up being taken to the hospital because I couldn't breathe. And this was back in January. So it's really difficult, really difficult. And recently, people do this thing where you burn your ditches. And when you burn them to a certain point so that all the old dead grass that's left from last year, that's usually very, very tall, they burn it out so that whatever is new isn't like poison ivy, poison oak, new trees, so that when you drive down the road, you can still see the stop signs and different things, so that you don't have to worry about it being overgrowth. And they're usually very good and very controlled. They usually know what they're doing. But unfortunately, with wind and things, some people who don't exactly know exactly what they're doing, or have the immediate means of being able to put out a fire if it goes into a place in which you didn't intend to go. It's happened where there's been a few fires. Now, I want you to understand, these are people who have families. They go out, whether it's a fire call or an EMS call, they all still have to show up until the scene is completely cleared. Now, mind you, there was 2 fires one day. So these people, at men and women, I'm not just going to say these people, but men and women, people who have families, they went out there. they fought the fire off and stayed there to make sure that it maintained stopping, so it didn't restart up. And when they did, it had burned a barn down. It was burning a barn. So they were there for quite some hours, putting themselves at the risk of getting a pandemic between them. Some of them don't have exactly the most exemplary health, but their hearts are hearts of gold. They were out there with each other, fighting it off, those that came, those from different districts of the family, what had happened. Everybody was safe. They put it out, they went home, they took a shower. It was early morning, like 5, maybe 6 o'clock. Later on, they had, come home, took their shower, were trying to go on with their normal day, and then all of a sudden, a second fire broke out. Now, they went to this fire, and they were there for several hours. And it had hit, the second fire was about 1:30 in the afternoon, and probably can last anywhere from an hour to 2 to 3 hours. They go home tired, very tired. They have to put everything away and clean everything, put all their uniforms and stuff away, and do all the refilling of their air tanks and stuff. And they go home. They take a shower, and then every night they go up to the community center and they help cook dinners to give out to the people who either can't go out because they're age issues, elderly issues that aren't safe for them to go outside, or they have health issues in which they should not be going out. So at this point, they're working overtime. They're working extended time. I know that nurses and doctors are working overtime and extended times. And I think we all get that really, not in a sense that we get it that it's just their job. This is not their job. This is something they picked to do. This is something they wanted to do out of the kindness of their hearts. Doctors, nurses could have all said it, but they took oaths and they decided that this was something that they went to school for and learned for and were prepared to do, even if they didn't know at the time what they were preparing for. I have saw hospitals with such sadness and such deplorable facial masks where it just embeds in their skins. Their shoes, which they have to decontaminate themselves. By the end of the day, they're so tired that they're in tears. Every day, something really good happens and something really bad happens at the same time. And trying to juggle your emotions between the two, I don't know how they do it. I know at my age now, there's no way on this earth I'd be able to do that. I don't know that everybody understands the length in which they put themselves at risk. So being stubborn and not using everybody thoughts like I shouldn't go out and do this because somebody else, I could get it from somebody, or I could spread if I'm holding it in my body. Those sorts of thoughts. Those sorts of thoughts are basically telling you that you need to understand that other people's lives matter. And if you get sick, that's more hours they have to work to take care of you. And you won't know it until it happens. So I'm asking people, please think of everybody else. I know that it's a certain time of year you want to get, you have no job that you're going to right now. You want to do all the things you can do that you couldn't before. I get it, but you don't get it. This isn't the time. It's not the time to be wasting their resources because you don't know how to follow some sort of health code and health restricted lifestyles. When you go to the store, prepare it for a week. Prepare yourself. Maybe even 2 weeks, prepare yourself. But don't be greedy. But at the same time, don't continue to go to Walmart every day. That's just as bad as going somewhere with a whole bunch of people and hoping you don't get it. It just doesn't make sense. They've made limits of how many people that they can have together. And I've seen pastors, priests, people of clergymen who have said, you're not going to get it because you believe in God. Come on down and let's pray. I'm a born-again Christian. I'm not here to judge anybody. But that is one of the worst things you can possibly say to God knows how many of God's children. And very reckless. You can have prayer. You don't have to be in a building. You don't have to be next to somebody. You can pray anywhere. And I'm hoping, especially with the new commercials that are coming out, where you see the families and the children spending more time together than they ever spent before with their kids. Their kids never got that attention. Their kids only got a part of that attention, but it was usually on the weekends. Parents, I saw things on TV that's parents are upset. It's stressing them out having to be home 24/7 with their children while their children aren't in school and have to take care of them, and it's stressing them out. Look, we go to the point of having children because we're the ones that are supposed to be raising them. We're the ones that are supposed to be treating them with the same love in which we expect them once they leave our house, continue to give. How can you be tired and sick of your children? How? You may like work, you may like going out and doing things, but you should be liking teaching your children things. How to make pancakes, how to vacuum the floors, sitting around playing board games. Put the electronics away for a while. Teach them things that your parents taught you, and actually things that you actually liked that they taught you. Color together, laugh together, play card games together. Be a parent with hands on, and stop complaining. It's not our jobs to have children and hand them to somebody else and say, here, raise it. That's basically what we're doing when we put them into a care center every day and then into a school. And for most parents, they don't want to do that. They want to be able to be with their kids. They just can't afford to not go to work. Maybe now they'll have a way to be able to stay at home and their husbands work be able to afford their food and their supplies now, with the economy so broken that you can't even imagine what it's like for most people, because they have to have 2 or 3 jobs just to pay rent. And I don't know how on earth we went from a time when things weren't so hard to a time where things were impossible and having things were over our heads. We invested ourselves over our heads. We used credit cards that were over our heads, or bought new vehicles that we are paying mortgages on, but we don't have jobs to pay for them. It's going over your own head. You've sunk. You wanted something new instead of something practical. You wanted to buy the best of the best instead of buying what suffices. You have to have premium things rather than just having things. And now we're at a point where that's not going to change. You're still embedded for a certain amount of money and indebted a certain amount of money to somebody you don't know if you'll ever be able to pay back. So why? I just don't get it. I really don't. And I really hope that this opens people's eyes. That fear of knowing that it wasn't a wise thing to do, to take out all these credit cards, do all these different things, just wasn't wise. And maybe it will be enough to change people's perspective on how they treat each other, how they spend time with their families, how much their children should mean, and how much their children should mean to them as a whole. And not be so desirous to stick them somewhere because we want to go out and go partying or something really, really selfish. If we didn't want to have kids, then there should have been that option to not have them, rather than to have them and hand them to somebody else, so that later on we can just say, yeah, that's our kid. I don't get it. I really don't. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm really not. But children need parents. They need parents. They need their love. They need the comfort. They need to learn from them so that when they grow with the adequate thought process of things, the adequate knowledge of things, the day-to-day life knowledge of things that right now they're not getting. Or they're learning it from somebody else because you're not taking the time to do it. So when they look back, it's not going to be memories of mom and dad. It's going to be memories of Mrs. Shu, who's in the 4th grade, that made them laugh. And that's a sad thing. So I hope all of this becomes a reminder that there are great people in this world. There are some that are so willing to give so much. And because of it, we should be grateful and understanding, loving, and give more of ourselves to our children and realize that our children can be very fun. We can see things through their eyes that we've never saw before, or thoughts that we had never thought or comprehended before through the mind of a child. when a child is young, you have no idea how they think and how smart they really are. And you can learn so much from them. So I hope that this all really truly goes over us and leaves all of us protected. That we all come away with it with a lot of things that we've learned. And those of us that have left this world and have passed, may they have passed with love and laughter and had some wonderful memories. That's all we take with us. And the rest of us that stay behind, may we all be understanding of each other, a little bit more loving and kind to each other. Find a way to make laughter an everyday thing. Find a way to make sure you tell everybody every day how much you love them and appreciate them. Tomorrow is not a given thing. It's something that we don't always get a choice in. But we do get the ability to know whether or not the people we love are still there. So wake up every morning with the desire to let them know you love them, to appreciate them. And honestly, it's what makes others want to appreciate you. When you appreciate them, they appreciate you. It's just true. So God bless you all, and I hope you all are fine. And know this, that God is not in a house of bricks and wood. Teaches us that in the Bible. He is not in a house of bricks and wood. He is everywhere and anywhere. He's omnipotent. He can be anywhere at any time. As long as you're praying, he's there. Pray with your family. Be a Sunday together in prayer or in thoughts. That's what we should be doing instead of trying to go to church. The one thing I did see before I go that really upset me was people complaining about there's going to be no Easter, mind you. I have to say, Easter isn't about candy. It's not about a bunny. It's not about chocolate. It's not about egg hunts. Easter is about the resurrection of Jesus. That's it. That's what it's supposed to be about. There is Easter every year. Even if chocolate bunnies never exist again, Easter's still every year. But it's all about the perception. And people complaining that they can't go to church or they can't do bunny hunts. Look, your minds are in the wrong place. And maybe now with everything that's going on, you'll see that there is somebody who's up there who's listening and who knows stuff. And that maybe, just maybe, you need to stop looking for a bunny. Start looking for God. God bless you. Bye, everybody.